Hello and welcome back. It's Thursday. That means it's another great episode of the Virtual Happy Hour. I'm your host, Greg Avula. Thank you so much for listening in, or watching in, as I should say, live on this Thursday evening. I want to bring on my special guest tonight, Eugenia Brown. Thank you very much for joining the show. Black Beard Chick. We all know you as that. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. We should have a great time cracking open some beers, talking about all the great stuff there. But like we just said, like anything with our virtual happy hours, the beer is the central part. So I'll let you go first. What are you drinking tonight, enjoying on this virtual happy hour?
All right. So I am drinking a beer called Slightly Emotional. Mm-hmm. It is from Free Range Brewing. That's the brewery that I work for here in Charlotte. And so it's a hazy IPA, about 6.6%. Really, really good. Lots of citrusy, a little bit piney. But the reason I chose this beer is because I feel like it was named after me, Slightly Emotional, because I feel like I'm always emotional. So
I like it. Well, I'm drinking on my side Liquid Mechanics Brewing. This is Liquid as F, or AF, as we all know here. This one's a double IPA, 7% alcohol by volume. I've never had this before. It came in a beer delivery service for me, so I'm excited to try this from Colorado, Lafayette there. So let's crack it open. If you're out there right now, crack open your beer as well. We'd love to hear what you're drinking. So you can do that two ways. You can comment on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, and let us know what you're drinking in the comments here. And you can check in on Untapped and have the venue Untapped at home. We'd love to see all your check-ins there. So make sure you're sharing your check-ins with us there. Eugenia, you're obviously a certified beer server too, and I've struggled immensely on this show with my pouring techniques. I'm really trying hard not to screw this up today, but there we go. I think I did a good job. What do you think? Is that a good pour?
You did a good job.
Thank you very much. Well, cheers to you. Thank you so much for being part of the show, and cheers to everyone out there. Enjoy your beverage. So we talked obviously about the right way to pour a beer. You know, I think everyone in their right mind out there thinks that they can pour the correct way for a particular beer. But what are some tips and tricks, being a certified assistant beer server, that you can share with the audience on the best way to pour the best beer for you?
Well, I think number one is make sure that you have a clean glass, because if you don't have a clean glass, the beer police will definitely come and get you. But that's for number one. And then I think the most important thing is to just make sure you tilt the glass. Mm-hmm. So whenever you're pouring a beer, you want to make sure you tilt the glass. And basically, as you pour the beer in the glass, once you get to the top, then you can kind of straighten the glass up, because you want some head retention on it, but you definitely don't want the beer spilling over. So that's the best advice I have.
Exactly. I tend to pour a little bit too quick sometimes, which generates a whole lot of head on the front. Then you have to wait for that head to kind of reside. Otherwise, you're drinking a mustache full of foam. Exactly. So it's always important to have those things out there. But, we talked a little bit about your you being a cicerone here from the beer server. Give us a little background of yourself and how you got into this industry, and a little bit more about the Black Beer Chick.
Yeah, definitely. So I got into beer in college. So really fell in love with craft beer in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I went to school at UNCG. And visited a brewery for the first time and had a beer that wasn't that bad. And I thought to myself, wow, I could maybe drink this. And so from there, I would just visit breweries whenever they would pop up. I love stopping and visiting new breweries, because I felt like the environment was always like really cool and laid back. And so fast forward to now, moving to Charlotte 5 years ago and realizing that there were a ton of breweries here. I needed a stress relief from work. And so I would go to breweries on the weekends. I would have a beer after work. And so we kind of became obsessed with like trying new beer and visiting new breweries. And so randomly discovered the Cicerone program and realized I was really interested, because obviously I love beer and I love drinking it, but I'm also a little bit of a science nerd. So I love the science behind beer, and just became obsessed with it and wanting to learn more. And so pursued my level 1 certified beer server. And I'm actually attempting to study for level 2, but I drink more beer than actually study about beer. So that has been a challenge. But yeah, so that's really my story. I kind of just fell into it.
That's a good way to fall into beer from that perspective. If you're joining us late, I'd love to introduce to our guest, Eugenia Brown, who's a Black Beer Chick. If you have a question for Eugenia, we'd love to be able to hear from you. Use the chat on your platform, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, and we'd love to get some questions for her as well. If you're joining us late, I'll show everyone what we're drinking tonight. Eugenia's drinking a Slightly Emotional as she said, named after herself from that perspective, which is a American IPA 6.6 from Free Range. And I am drinking on my side a Liquid AF, which is from Liquid Mechanics Brewing out of Lafayette, Colorado. This is a regular IPA, no haze craze here. You can see right through the glass. That's how you know it's not from the New England IPA style there. So that's what we're drinking. So we'd love to hear from your questions coming up on the screen. I'll start here. Obviously, we talk a little bit about the Black Beer Chick and the Beer Chick LLC that you kind of produce. What's your mission and what are you trying to accomplish with this particular brand when it comes to the beer industry?
Yeah, I tell people, like, when I created the whole persona Black Beer Chick, I literally just wanted to like find a way to connect with people that like beer. So I created the IG name. I was honestly shocked that the name wasn't even taken already. I was like, there's no one called Black Beer Chick. That's me. And so I just started posting pictures about beer, started meeting people. And I think one of the eye-opening things for me is that, I've realized that we're a lot more beer drinkers that look like me than what I realized. Mm-hmm. And so, being able to connect with Black and brown beer drinkers was really amazing to me. And so started just posting for fun, kind of turned into a lifestyle brand. And that's what Beer Chick is. It's really a brand for everyone that love craft beer, but mm-hmm. I love definitely creating space for women in the craft beer. And so I think now, fast forward to just really what my focus and what my passion and vision is, creating a space for everyone that's into craft beer, definitely highlighting women of color. Being a woman of color, I enter tap rooms and breweries, and quite often I don't see people that look like me. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely think we have our own lane in the industry. And so I've been trying to do the best that I can as far as just highlighting that and sharing the fact that, Black girls drink beer too. Like, we're not unicorns. We call ourselves unicorns, but we're actually real. And so that's been my whole focus.
There you go. Very cool. Let's put some questions up on the screen here as well. And this one is from Kristen. And Kristen says, Eugenia, what's your favorite style of beer? Think we may have lost Eugenia there. Oh, you're back.
Okay.
You're back. All right. So we got a question for you from Christina, and she asked, what's your favorite style of beer?
This is such a hard question. So
I know, right?
I'm the person that drinks everything from sours to IPAs. Like, I can tell you what I don't like as opposed to what I like, but I will say I go through moods, and my current mood is like brown. So give me anything that's brown. Give me anything that's malt forward. Like, I'm loving this time of year because of Oktoberfest beer. So mm-hmm. I love Marzens, but yeah. So the thing I don't like, I am not a fan of barley wine. That's the one thing.
You and I are in the same category for that, because I'm not a huge barley wine fan either. But yeah, I agree with you on the fall sentiment. Here in New England, the fall is like what we're known for. So it's great to crack open some of those fall style flavors and drink them. But I'm with you on the barley 100%.
Right.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, I think the other things we want to kind of chat with you about are some of the things that you're working with the Pink Boot Society, which I think is a great cause and a great group of people that are coming together. But for those who don't really know exactly what the Pink Boot Society is, maybe a little background on what you're working with them on and what they're all about.
Yeah, so the Pink Boots is a professional women's organization, and really their whole focus is to inspire, educate, and encourage women that are craft beer professionals. So the great thing about it is they've recently opened it up to women in all fermentation beverages. So, if you work at a cidery, if you work at a meadery, if you work in wine, you're able to join. And it's really a premier organization when it comes to just really providing scholarships and helping women continue their education as it relates to their beverage of choice. And so here in Charlotte, I'm actually a chapter leader with another person named Erica. And so we lead our local Pink Boots chapter. And it's been something great that I've got involved with in the past couple of months. I know I actually was a scholarship recipient from one of their scholarships last year. And so I was able to see firsthand, the opportunity that it provides. And then I think for me as a woman, having a safe space to, talk about your day and just share kind of your experiences, especially where we're really underrepresented, is really, really positive. And so, I'm excited to be a chapter leader, and I'm all about connecting women in general. But if I can connect them over beer, that makes it even better.
100%. So when you say you're a co-leader, what exactly does that mean? Do you organize some of the events that are happening? Obviously, within COVID, that makes it a little bit difficult. But is that what the co-leader position kind of does within that situation? Exactly.
So each chapter has a leader. Here in Charlotte, we just have 2 leaders, and we call them co-leaders. And so basically what we do is really kind of plan events for our local chapter. So September 15th, we have a beer and cheese pairing coming up. So we're really, really excited about that. And really just try to bridge the gap between women and the industry and helping just provide different educational opportunities.
Love it. Well, we got some more questions that are popping up here. Let's pick one from the audience here. This one's like a really good one. This one's from Ron, and Ron asks, do you have a favorite Charlotte brewery? You may be a little bit biased with this particular answer, but let's hear it. It's like asking what your favorite kid is.
You know what? So I always tell people I don't have a favorite brewery, but I have like top 5 in places that I like. So obviously I'm biased. I work at Free Range and love there. But some of the breweries in my top 5, I love Divine Barrel. They have really, really great beer. And I like breweries for different things. So that's another thing. Like when people ask us like, okay, do you like the beer? Do you like the environment? But Divine Barrel, I love for everything, beer, the environment. Triple C, I love the environment at Triple C. This is outside of Charlotte, but Middle James, I love their beer and the environment and the guys that work there. So those are just some name a few. Pilot, obviously, I'm biased to them as well because I used to work there, but they have really good beer. So yeah, there's so many breweries in Charlotte. So that question is so hard, but those are a few.
There you go. I like it. Well, I'm currently getting flamed in the comments right now because I supposedly said the name of the beer I'm drinking wrong. This is what it said right there. Lucid, not liquid. So I apologize for saying liquid and not lucid. That is the name of the beer. So hopefully you guys can forgive me on that one. Let's go to another question here. This one is from Jen, and Jen asks, what's your favorite brewery trip or beercation that you may have taken or maybe taken in the future?
Well, so I tell people I travel for beer. Like if I'm planning a trip, more than likely I'm going somewhere because of beer. And so there's so many places that I have not been able to go. Like big on my list this year was Portland. I wanted to go to Portland so bad. I've never been to the West Coast before. So I was really excited to check out beer there. But other places that I went to, obviously I'm right here by Asheville. I have to say I love Asheville.
Yeah. I've never been to Asheville, and I really want to go so bad because everyone talks about it.
Yes,
it's amazing.
You have
I heard
to Asheville. You have to. I went to, let's see, recently, like the past year, because I try to travel once a month and go to different beer cities. But I went to Savannah, and they have a small beer scene, but the guys there showed me so much love, especially at Moon River. I loved it. Where else have I been recently? Charleston, I finally made it there. And so like Edmonds O's, Rovery, all those breweries. And the random thing about Charleston is Edmonds O's has the best chicken wings. Like the beer is good. Seriously, they have the best chicken wings. Awesome. But yeah, so many places. I mean, I travel for beer, but I definitely want to get to the West Coast. I want to get to Portland, and I want to get to Maine because there are lots of great beer in Maine too. Yeah,
when you said Portland in the beginning, I was thinking Portland, Maine, to be honest with you. But then you said I've been to the West Coast, and that's obviously another good spot as well. So highly recommend Portland, Maine as well. It's a good spot up there from that perspective. Let's have another question here. Let's see. This is from Alicia. She said, do you think women are beginning to become universally accepted in the beer world, or we still have a huge strides to make?
I love that question. I think we are becoming more universally accepted. And I think you're seeing now a lot more female brewers. You're seeing, and not just assistant brewers. I mean, female head brewers. At Free Range, our head brewer is a woman. And while I do think we have huge strides to make, because when you talk about ownership, you don't have a lot of women-owned breweries. We had one here in Charlotte, and unfortunately, Bo Missy had to close. And so I would love to see more women owning their own breweries because, I mean, we can do the work. We know just as much about beer than men, and possibly even more. But yeah, but I do think we have a long ways to go. But I think we've come a long way, and I think Pink Boots and other organizations like that and breweries continuing to support that is what really helps in that and moving the needle the right way.
Absolutely. I agree as well. We had a chance to talk to one of the female head brewers here in Connecticut on the show a few weeks ago for Rhythm Brewing Company. And it's just great to have different perspective. That's really what it's all about in this industry here, is that we can always, I look at the standard typical guy in beer because I've got a beard, I'm white, and that's the way it works, right? But I have different ways of looking at things as you do as well. We all come together as one. That's when great ideas are trying to innovate and things together. So it's great to see your comments in this space, especially when we are hopefully moving in the right direction when it comes to more diversity in these programs.
Well, and one thing I will say is that, here in North Carolina, we actually have a woman-owned brewery, another one, not in Charlotte, but we have Spaceway Brewing that's in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And a woman of color, a Black woman owns it. Her name is Brianna Brake. And so she's producing some crazy beer right now. And lots of people probably have never even heard of her. So, if you ever get down to North Carolina, make it to the East Coast, visit Spaceway Brewing. They have some amazing beer, and she's doing the thing right now. So I always got to try her out.
I like it. I like it. We talked a little bit about Pink Boots, but one of the things we've kind of harped on even in our initial show notes is your Road to 50 initiative. And if people don't know exactly what that is, give us a little flavor and where you're at with that progress.
Oh my God. So amazing. I couldn't sleep one night and decided that I was going to raise money to help 50 women get their certified beer service certification. And so I was just really thinking about how do we create more bridges and eliminate barriers and honestly just help more women of color get connected to the beer industry. So thought this whole idea up, created a t-shirt, raised a bunch of money, was able to purchase those 50 exams. And then Cicerone came on board and matched my 50 exams with 50 more. So It's turned into Road to 100. And so basically I'm helping 100 women of color get their certified beer service certification. And it's been amazing. So, I purchased all the exams. I was able to get Workman Publishing to actually donate 100 copies of Tasting Beer, which is the book that they recommend by Randy Mosher for level 1. And I'm just so excited. And the women that are signed up and involved, they're really excited. And the cool thing about it is, I literally have women from all walks of life, from like 21 to 50. I mean, people that have been working for years in a different career field. And now they want to pivot because they want to learn more about beer or, they love beer. And so it's been incredible. The amount of support I've received from the beer community altogether has been unbelievable. So I'm so excited about that. And will officially kick off next week.
That's awesome. That's incredible. How did you find the individuals? They reach out to you, or did you create this program and they kind of source from you? How did that all work out?
So literally, social media gets a bad name, but at the same time, it is a great way to connect with people. And so for my Instagram, literally just sharing videos on Instagram, sharing posts on Facebook, 100 different women literally emailed me. I said, hey, you want to do this? Shoot me an email. And so I was able to get 100 women signed up and that want to pursue this. And I mean, it's been mind blowing. I've actually had even over 100 women. And so awesome. In the beginning, I thought it would be a one-time thing, but maybe this is something that I do on a regular, ongoing basis, because obviously, there's desire there. And I think the beautiful thing about it is, you have people that want to support diversifying the actual beer industry. So
we're all behind that, and we're so happy that you were able to obtain your goal there times 2, for lack of a better word. Right. So that's really awesome. And we're obviously not the only ones here, because we got some great people that are singing your praise in the comments. This one's from Erin Gorse. I'm so privileged to call Eugenia a friend. She's a national inspiration to not just on the local scene, but the beer industry as a whole. So there you go for that.
And I didn't pay him to say that, y'all.
The check's not in the mail, Erin. There you go. Exactly. From that perspective. But here's another great comment as well. It said, I love your passion, Eugenia. We need more people like you in the craft beer world. Cheers from Bud there.
Cheers.
So, that's very nice of them to say there. Let's go to another question here. Actually, it's from Aaron as well. And we'll put him back up on the screen. It's like, how have you seen the level of acceptance and inclusivity of women and people of color change in your time around the beer industry, or has it not?
I think the interesting thing for me is, my perspective may be very different. So I'm entering the beer field. I would say I've been active in the beer scene for the past 2 years. So before entering it, I never really thought of women of color being a part of it, to be honest. I know we have people like Celeste Beatty from Harlem Brewing. That is one of the first Black women owned breweries. And so I remember what it felt like to meet her for the first time. And I was so excited. And she was a role model. Because, I truly believe that representation matters. And I never really had someone to look up to when thinking, well, Eugenia, can you own a brewery one day? And so, I think that because we're having a lot more difficult conversations, and I love to call them courageous conversations about things, I think that there's opportunity for us to see lots more inclusivity in the beer industry as it relates to women and just people of color in general. And I think for the longest time, we talked about a lot of things, but now I'm noticing that you have a lot of breweries actually stepped up to the plate and doing things. So, Garrett Oliver and his Brewing and Distilling initiative, the Michael Jackson initiative. We have a local brewery here that's actually creating a internship for a person of color that is interested in learning more about brewing. So, I think now the needle has shifted from us just talking about it so much, which is like aggravating to me, to now actually doing something. So yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously we try to have different personalities on this show as well. And we really recommend from a diversity perspective to talk about these things. They need to be talked about. They need platforms, and we try to amplify them from that perspective. So it's great to hear that we see some improvements. Obviously, we've talked a lot, and now it's time for action. So I'm glad that we're in that movement there and trying to amplify those voices for sure when it comes to these things. So that's a very positive piece as well. We talked a little bit about your success, obviously, with your brand and whatever. You've actually had a lot of TV appearances and support from the Charlotte community. How has it felt to like start something so grassroots, like you just mentioned, to have the support of a lot of people within your initiative? It's got to feel good from that perspective, right?
Oh, it feels amazing. Like, I almost want to pinch myself sometimes because it doesn't seem real. But at the same time, like, I have always been a very like grassroots person. Like, I don't wait for people to do things. If I want to do something, I just do it. And in that sense, I've never really fit into anyone's box. So if something interests me, or if I wanted to go after something, I just kind of did it. And so even like literally laying in bed, just thinking about, wanting to make a difference, I came up with all of this overnight. Like, I designed this shirt in 5 minutes and posted it. I thought it was going to take me forever to raise this money. Raised it in 3 days. And, it's been phenomenal. But I think what's even more important is that, obviously this was something that was on my heart. But to see people just donate from all over and to be so supportive and send me messages, it has been mind blowing. And so even today, I'll share this. So 4:55, I still work a full-time job. And so I was getting off work. I get a phone call from a random New Jersey number. This 50-year-old woman called me, found my number on one of my social media pages, because I'm just like, call me, text me, I don't care. I'm an open person. But she's like, hey, I just wanted to reach out to you. I can't believe you answered the phone. I'm 50 years old. I just started a culinary arts program. I love beer. I'm thinking about wanting to make a career change. And I just want to just touch base with you and just hear more about the Sis-From program. And, I was talking to her and she sounded so young. So I'm thinking she's like young in her 20s. 50 years old, and she decides that at this point in her life, she wants to pivot and do something different. And I couldn't praise her enough. I was like, you know what? Kudos to you for having the courage to go after something that you love and pursue something that you love. Regardless if people are looking at you like you're crazy, like you're 50 years old and you want to do what about beer, huh? And so that's what's so great is that, I'm able to connect people through beer, and beer is something that I love. But, I tell people that it's about so much more than beer. And it's also about so much more than me. And so even just getting that random phone call today, I'm just like, save my number, call me anytime. Like, we can always talk. So that's just been one of the cool things. The amount of support I received has been amazing.
It's really great. I know, just starting a business like Untapped, for example, it's always really, really important to get that support from not just your friends and family, but, I remember the first time I saw someone open up the Untapped app that I never knew who they were. And I was like, oh my God, you just made my day. Like, so I definitely know where you're coming from. And we definitely have some great comments that are coming through here in the channel. And this one's from Razia. She said, actions into words. So happy to see women like Eugenia, as well as other brewers, taking action, speaking up, and having hard conversations. And that's great because that's so important for us to have those conversations, especially in this industry, and making change for it. So you've definitely captured the audience there from that perspective as well. If you joined us late, we're talking to Eugenia Brown. She is known as the Black Beer Chick. We'd love for you to ask some questions for her. And if you'd like to, use your platform, Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, and put that question up there, and we'll hopefully get a chance to answer them and put them on the screen. We're actually drinking beer. This is part of a virtual happy hour. So I'll throw up Eugenia's beer card here. What she's drinking is Slightly Emotional from Free Range, which is a IPA, American IPA from 6.6. And I am drinking Lucid. I got it right this time, folks. Lucid AF, a liquid mechanics brewing company out of Lafayette, Colorado. This is another American IPA, and it weighs in at 7.7. So we'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, let us know as we talk to the Black Beer Chick. Ultimately, one of the things that I find so interesting about these topics that we talk about is is motivation. And, obviously you're incredibly passionate about the things that you're doing here. You're making a real impact, but what motivates you to keep going on this journey? Is it the interactions with the people that you do, or is there something else that keeps you going?
You know what? So I am the ultimate people person, and I never meet a stranger. And, I always tell people, you can put me in any environment, any group of people, and more than likely I will have a conversation or find some type of commonality with someone to have a conversation about. And so I think for me, it's definitely the beer and the love I have for beer. But more than anything, I think it's the people. I believe in the power of storytelling. And, I love hearing people's stories. And that's also one of the reasons why I fell in love with breweries, because whenever I would go to a new brewery, whether it was the person sitting beside me at the bar or a person that I passed on my way to the bathroom, I mean, the amount of conversations that I'm able to start about just anything. And so I think the people truly motivate me to just keep going. Because some days, and I think we all have these moments where it's just like, you know what? I'm going to delete all my social media. I don't care about this anymore. Don't talk to me. I hate people. And then it's like, but you've met so many amazing people. You've made so many connections. Like, people actually look forward to the content and things that you post. And so that's what I say when it's so much more than me. And I've just had an amazing opportunity to just bring people together. And so that's really, really special. So definitely my biggest motivation, people. I love people.
It's funny you mentioned that, because that's the same thing for me on my side as well. And being part of Untapped and spreading this message and amplifying voices is the interactions, the people that we get to meet, the excitement that happens when people like you and myself talk about beer and get excited about it. We're all like kids on Christmas here, and we love to have conversations about these things and talk about what we like, what we don't like, and what we want to change about an industry that we're so passionate about. I think a lot of people don't realize how much that motivates individuals in our fields and everything else. Is that we're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for the other people that want to learn and educate themselves about beer. So for me, like when I see people using Untapped that I don't know about and they're really engaged in it, it makes me feel great. And I'm sure the same way when you help those 100 women get that degree or that certificate, it's got to feel great as well. Keep you motivated to continue to do it more often from that side.
I constantly joke and I tell people, so I don't work. So people think I work in beer full time because I devote so much time to it, but I actually have a full-time job outside of beer. And so I'm ready to kind of like make that transition full time. I'm just like trying to find the right position. But I constantly tell people, and it's kind of a joke around the beer industry, but I think it's true. I've accepted the fact that I'm going to be poor, but it's okay. I'm going to be happy and poor, and happiness is priceless. And I love beer. I love people. And, I know that in my heart, that's what I want to be doing full time. So.
Absolutely. I think it's a great way to kind of be able to well, I tell people all the time, like, oh yeah, you work for Untapped, you must be like drunk all the time. Like, that's not really what it's all about. Just because you're into beer doesn't mean you're always drinking all the time. For me, it's all about the flavors. If you asked me about 10, 15 years ago when I was in college, maybe a different story, but now it's all about the flavors, the people I meet, everything else. That's what makes this industry so powerful, because of the connections in the community. I've been to many bars, obviously pre-COVID, where I sat down by myself at a bar, had a great conversation with the person next to me. And that's just an amazing part of this industry that I like to continue to grow. And especially with people like yourself that are kind of sending all these good vibes and getting the word out about these diversity, inclusion, and things that are important. It helps the whole industry kind of come together. So definitely thank you so much for all your hard work in this area. We definitely appreciate it, and it needs to be said.
Thank you so much.
Let's go back to some more questions here. This one's from Kelly, and Kelly said, have you ever done a group brewery trip and let people tag along?
No. And so funny thing, how I first got into like working in like the beer industry a little bit, we have a local company here that used to do brewery tours. And so you get on this bus and you would take people to different breweries. And so for a little while, I worked as a brewery tour person. And so, yeah, I would take people from different breweries and talk about the beer, explain a little bit about the history. And so that was really fun. But I've never really planned an event. And so I think like, hopefully if COVID ends anytime soon, I would love to actually do more events with Beer Chick. For a while, it's really just existed as kind of like a lifestyle brand and connecting with people online. But I would love to do more face-to-face, in-person kind of trips. So like I said, I'm always in a different city traveling for beer. So that would be fun.
Sounds good. It sounds like a trip that you'd want to be on. Let's go to another question here from Latifa. Latifa asks, your grain to glass class was amazing. Thank you all for that. Maybe some information about what that class is for people that may not know.
Yeah, so I've just been on a roll as far as like actually doing things instead of talking about it. And so one of the things I did a few weeks ago was I was able to work with the beer education person at Rheingeist. And so we put together this class called Grain to Glass for people that are just want to learn more about beer, that had a interest in beer and possibly wanted to pursue that level 1. So we did about 3 classes, 3 virtual classes where we just opened it up to anyone that wanted to attend. And so we had a great turnout for it. That's because awesome. One of the things I truly believe is that beer education should be accessible to everyone. And so that was the whole point of that class.
I like it. It's all about education. I think one of the things that gets overshadowed a lot when it comes to beer is that there is an art to what it is. It's not just, you carry a big 30 rack of beer and that's going to be your good night party. It's about the flavors. It's about the education behind it. It's very important to understand that. So it's pretty cool that you put that on there from that perspective there. Let's go to some more questions. There's a lot of them here. This is a great comment from Claire. And Claire, this is so cool. I'm sitting here watching knitting and drinking Bellweiser Pilsner from Bellwoods here in Toronto. It's so cool to see other black beer lovers. And that's great because that's fantastic. It's got to make you feel good, Eugenia, for hearing comments like that.
Definitely. Yes, Claire, I love it.
It's awesome
I always wanted to learn how to knit, but I never learned.
Here's another one from Michael Colston. Says, as a black man who loves beer and works in beer, I love what you're doing. Is it difficult for people of other races to accept your beer knowledge and passion? You know what?
There are bad apples in every bunch, but for the most part, and that's the nice way to put it, but for the most part, so many people have received me with open arms, just excited that, I was as into beer as they were. And I would say for me personally, the love has definitely outweighed the hate. And I think that's really powerful. But, I've also had experiences where, I worked at a brewery where I actually brewed beer and a guy comes up to the bar and refuses to ask me any questions about the beer because he assumes I don't know. And I'm just like, oh, well, I brewed that beer. Now, what question did you have? So it's been hit or miss, but the love has outweighed the hate for sure. And so, yeah, that's been my experience.
That's good. Well, we have that experience there. I think, one of the things that it's really great about all this stuff is just being able to share stories. And I think you said earlier that you really enjoy being a storyteller and listening to people. That I think there's no doubt that, you've accomplished that goal and being able to inspire others to do this. And obviously we have a lot of people that we put up on the board here that have sung your praise from this perspective. So, we really appreciate you being on the show tonight. I've definitely had a great time talking with you about all your initiatives and all your success, and want to give you an opportunity at this point to kind of give any final thoughts. People can find you on the internet and anything else that you're working on that you're going to want to share.
Right. So definitely, Greg, thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to just be a part of this conversation and using your platform for it. If people are interested in getting in touch with me, you can find me on Instagram at Black Beer Chick, on Facebook, Beer Chick LLC, as well as my website. You can go and order some really cute and cool tie-dye shirts like this one.
I like it.
On blackbeerchick.com. But for those that are interested in just the initiative and just learning more about, these 100 women, I'll be sharing progress from beginning to end on what that looks like. And really excited about that. So definitely just stay in touch. I tell people that my number is on Facebook and Instagram. If you have any beer questions, let me know. We all start somewhere. And I'll just share this today. And I've brewed before. I just learned that it's not grain build, BUILD. It's grain bill, BILL. Mind blown. Because the whole time I thought I knew what I was saying. I know what a grain build is, but I was saying the word wrong. So I'm always here. Thank you so much. And definitely stay in touch. Anybody out there.
Sounds good. We had a great time talking with you. We'll stay in touch, and I appreciate all your knowledge on this topic, and definitely a good conversation to have.
Thank you, Greg.
All right. Cheers. Have a good one. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone watching. I know I had a great time talking with Eugenia on this Thursday virtual happy hour. It's going to be a long weekend in the United States. Hope you enjoy your weekend, but come back on Tuesday. We got an amazing guest coming on, JC, the co-founder and owner of Trillium Brewing Company out of the Boston area, Massachusetts. We're talking to him all about the great things and how his brewery has definitely tipped the scales when it comes to the hazy IPAs in the New England area, and definitely a beer that everybody wants to get a hold on. So check back in next Tuesday on untapped.tv. You can check all the schedules, who is coming up there. And if you have any feedback for us, maybe guests you want to see on the show, let us know at untapped.com, or you can email us at media@untapped.com. I'd love to hear about it from that. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you so much for watching tonight's virtual happy hour. I'm Greg Avola. We'll see you next time. Cheers.